Hi, and welcome to Photoplay Paper. I'm Amy Sonneman, and today I'd like to share with you how to assemble the Folio 4 designed by Jen Carpenter. This kit has lots of flips and folds and pockets, perfect for decorating for a gift, to give to friends and family, and I'd like to show you how to assemble each of the pieces to make it easy and fun to create a beautiful gift. There are a few things that you're going to need to get started. You're going to want a pair of scissors, a bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, you could always use a spoon. The rounded side of a spoon allows you to crease your folds nicely as well. You also need some really strong adhesive. I'm going to use the red line tape like this, mostly because one, it's really strong, but also so that you can see where I'm putting the tape, because the red will show up nicely on camera. There's also some fabulous tissue tape that's easily torn on the market today, so you could easily use the tissue tape. I wouldn't recommend using a tape adhesive runner. Those aren't strong enough to be able to withstand the constant opening and closing and pulling out pieces from pockets. You really need something super strong to be able to assemble your Folio 4. The other thing you'll need is 1 or 2 cuts with a trimmer, so you might want to pull out your trimmer as well. So let's go ahead and get started assembling the Folio 4. The first thing I want to do is share just a few housekeeping tips. Inside the packaging of the Folio 4, if you open it up and flip it to the back side, that's where all of the assembly instructions are located. So there's a sheet on the back of the packaging as well as a separate sheet that's double-sided to help you follow as we go step by step. So this gives you both visual and written instructions to be able to make assembly super easy. When you first pull your kit out of the packaging, I want you to find the magnets that are located in a little plastic bag inside of your kit. These are super easy to lose, so just grab those first and set those aside. I actually put those on something metal so that they don't get lost in the shuffle. Those we'll need at the very, very end. You'll have your instructions and all of the pieces inside of your kit. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do step 1, and you're going to locate the cover that is the largest piece in your kit. So go ahead and look through all of the pieces. This is the largest piece in your kit. And as you can see, it's hard to see on camera, but you have a shorter side over here. This will be the left inside piece of your panel. So this is your left panel. So you're always going to want that to the left-hand side. The larger piece is going to be your right-hand side. So take a sticky note or maybe a light pencil. I labeled mine so that I would not accidentally flip it upside down and glue to the wrong side. Because as you're working with it, I found myself flipping it around and turning it upside down and top to bottom and left to right so that I could make sure everything was straight. I put a few little marks, and you could do it with Post-it notes, you can do it with a pencil. I just wrote left side, right side. This is your center section, and this is the bottom. And I strategically placed them in spots that I'm going to be covering up. So you won't see it. If it doesn't erase all the way, it's not a big deal. But if you use Post-it notes, you won't have to worry about it. So after I did this, I thought, well, Post-it notes would have worked too. So definitely feel free to use Post-it notes. So once you have it laid out, you're going to go ahead and just fold the cover. You're going to take your bone folder and you're just going to smooth out those creases. so they're nice and flat. We'll do both sides. If you don't have a bone folder, you can always use a spoon. And I kind of made sure before I folded that last, or scored that last fold, that it's straight on the bottom, because sometimes you just never know. Now you have your cover folded like this. You have your pieces marked if you want. I'll put both there so you can use that as reference. So we got that part done. We're going to move on to step 2. Next, you're going to locate the accordion piece, and that piece is 18.5 inches by 6.375 inches. Go ahead and take a look and get that piece out of your kit. It will look like this. It has 2 folds here and then a small fold over here on the far edge. And that's going to be to the right. We're going to go ahead and fold that. The first fold is going to be a valley fold, so it's going to go up. The second fold is going to be a mountain fold, so you're going to create a mountain. It's going to look like this. Okay. And then this last fold is going to be a valley fold. So we're going to go ahead and make sure each of those pieces are scored nice and flat. When you're done, you have a piece that looks like this. This is what it's going to look like. You're going to flatten it out, flip it over, and add adhesive here, okay, to this little tiny 1/2 inch flap. So go ahead and add your adhesive there. So once you've added your adhesive to the right hand side, you're going to flip it back over like this. Your adhesive will be on the bottom. You're going to make your little flap. When you pull your cover back in, you're going to adhere your adhesive, okay, this little piece here, to the left spine, okay? So there's 2 score lines on the spine. You're going to want to bump it up against the side closest to the right, okay? So not this one, but this one. And I'm going to literally adhere it right over the top of my words. So I'm going to take my piece, I'm going to line it up, not over the top of the score line, but next to the score line. And I kind of want to make sure it's even top to bottom, left to right. Okay, like so. When you get it where you want it, go ahead and adhere it down to the cover. So go ahead and do that. We'll go on to the next step. Once you have adhered your panel to the left side, just take your bone folder and run it down the piece with the adhesive, just to make sure it's nice and secure. When you're finished, it will look like this. Let's set that piece aside and we'll go on to step 4. In step 4, I'm going to want you to locate the 5 by 5 square that is scored on all 4 sides. Okay, so you're going to find this piece. If you're following along with the directions, you can see that we're going to cut this square into 2 triangles. So you're going to cut from here to here. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. Line it up on the points. When you're finished, you'll have 2 triangles that look like this. Now we're going to take each of the pieces and we're going to cut the corner off where the 2 pieces, where the 2 score lines make that little square. So right here, can you see that? We're going to do that on both pieces. Then we're going to fold the score lines. So go ahead and fold your score lines. Basically what we're doing is creating two pockets that we're going to adhere into our folio. As you can see, if I glued those down the way they are, they wouldn't make very nice pockets. We're going to go ahead and take our scissors and just trim along the edge to cut off these two excess flaps. So go ahead and do that. Make sure all of your edges are nice and scored well. Then we're going to go ahead and add our adhesive to the two back flaps only. You don't have to worry too much about cutting that corner perfectly when you cut that edge off because it's going to be covered. You're not going to see it. It's the back side of your pocket, so don't worry too much about whether these two pieces are perfectly mitered or whether they're square. No one's going to notice. So when you're finished adding your adhesive, you'll have two pockets ready to be adhered into your folio. So let's take a look at that. This is where it's really helpful to have made sure you marked your left and right sides. So if you're looking at your folio, your smaller side should be to your left. Your accordion panel is already adhered right here. We're going to go ahead and open it up to the right. Okay, so this is what they call the front of your accordion. You're going to take your pocket and we're going to adhere that pocket in the lower left corner of your accordion. Okay, so go ahead and do that. We're going to center it on that corner. We're going to rub it down. We're going to just kind of crease it with our bone folder one last time. And you have your first pocket assembled. The second part of step 5 wants you to locate two pieces that look like this. Okay, this pocket we're going to use later, so just kind of set that aside. That's the other diagonal pocket. So go ahead and find two pieces that are 6.875 inches by 2.5 inches tall, and it's scored on 3 sides like this. We're going to cut off the corners like we did last time. This time we're going to cut off 2 corners on each. We're going to go ahead and score each of the sides. Use our bone folder to smooth them out. And then go ahead and add your adhesive. We're going to put one of the pockets aside and adhere one in the next step. So we're going to go ahead and put one aside. This piece is going to get adhered to the center of your accordion, and it is still opened to the right hand side. So we're going to take our adhesive off and we're going to glue it right there. So go ahead and let's do that. Adhere it in place. Take your bone folder and rub down the adhesive to make sure it is nice and secure. This adhesive is super strong and very, very sticky. If by chance you get it crooked or you don't like the way you placed it, I highly recommend not just peeling it off because it will tear your paper in a heartbeat. What I do recommend is having some undo on hand, just in case you put it down in the wrong spot. Instead of ruining your project, which is what will happen if you try to tear this red line tape off. If you use a little bit of undo and get it started underneath there, it'll come off, wait for all of the undo to dry, and your adhesive will be sticky again. You can put it right back down. So your paper will look wet. It's fine. It will dry nice and smooth and perfect. The adhesive will be sticky again once it's dry, and you can put it in place. Just don't rip it off because, boy, then you'll have a mess. Undo is your friend when you're working with the red line tape. So now you have your two pockets adhered. You have your diagonal pocket and your thin pocket down here. When you fold it, it will look like this. In step 6, we're going to go ahead and open the accordion to the left this time. Okay, so this time our pockets are on the right. Now we're going to open it to the left. We're going to take the two leftover pockets, one like this and one like this, and we're going to go ahead and adhere those to the back of your accordion fold. So we're going to take this piece and we're going to adhere it to the far left of your accordion fold, like this. We're going to take the triangular pocket and we're going to go ahead and adhere it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Now that you have both pockets glued down, smooth out the edges with your bone folder to make sure that the adhesive is nice and firmly stuck in place. So when you're done, it'll look like this. So you'll have pockets on the front and the back of your accordion fold. We're going to move on to step 7. I'm going to need you to locate the piece that is 7.375 inches by 3 inches. That's going to be the next pocket we work with. It's scored on 3 sides. We're going to go ahead and cut the corners off like last time. Again, it doesn't matter if they're perfect. No one's going to see them. They're going to be hidden underneath. We're going to go ahead and fold those. Use your scoring tool to crease the edges. Next, we're going to add our adhesive to the 3 flaps. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll adhere our pocket. We're going to remove our tape. And I use a little spatula to help me get the backing off. We're going to adhere this pocket to the center piece of our cover where we put center bottom, and then I put my little arrow that says up. So I know that this is the top, this is the bottom. So go ahead and add your pocket centering it left to right and top to bottom. Take your bone folder, rub the adhesive down really well so you have your next pocket in place. So the first part of step 8 was to adhere the pocket, which we did. The next part of step 8 is to locate the piece of paper that is 6.375 inches by 5.5 inches with a score line along one side. We're going to add adhesive here. I took off the backing paper. We're going to turn it this way. And so I can see, to line it up, I am going to flip my folio upside down. And I'm going to center it left to right and flush against the edge. When I got it the way I like it, take my bone folder and rub down the adhesive so it's nice and tight. And you have a flap like this. Now before I go to the next step, flip it back around. Because if you don't flip it around, that's how you glue things in the wrong spot. Just saying. That completes step 8, which adheres this piece to the folio. If we move on to step 9, we need to locate the piece that is 6.5 inches by 6.375 inches, and we're going to adhere it to the right side. This piece will be the largest piece left in your kit. So we're going to go ahead. It's going to be scored on only one side. You're going to score it. You're going to go ahead and fold it, score it, add your adhesive. So the instructions say to align it to the right spine, okay? And you're going to align it with the left score mark. Remember, we marked the right side. We're going to align it with the left score mark, which is here, right over the top of where I've written right side. We're going to go ahead and line that up. Just next to the fold line, not on top of the fold line. When you have it where you want it, take your bone folder, rub it down, and you have your page adhered. In step 10, I need you to locate these two pieces. They are 5.5 inches by 4.125 inches, and they're scored on 3 sides. Like so. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut those bottom corners so we can make our pockets. We're going to fold each of those pieces on the score line. Like before, we're going to rub down the score lines so they're nice and flat. You now have 2 pockets with your adhesive on it. And before you take the adhesive off, I recommend just placing them in place so that you know how it is supposed to be assembled. Now that you have your 2 pockets folded and have adhesive on them, you're going to go ahead and you're going to lift your flap that you just added and fold it over. You're going to add your 2 pockets here. So before you glue anything, kind of lay them out so in your mind you know what they're supposed to look like and where they're supposed to go. So basically the pockets are going to open here, okay, and be glued on 3 sides. Okay, so It's going to be on the back side of the flap that you just adhered in the last step. I recommend starting with one pocket and adhering it aligned with the bottom and the side of the top side of your piece of paper, of that page. Then once that's down, you're going to add this one and you're going to align it to the side here and the lower edge. Depending on how your pockets are scored, you may have them bumped up against each other or they may have a little bit of a gap. Just depends on how you scored them. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Once you've adhered the two pockets, go ahead and just run your bone folder over where the adhesive is to make sure it's nice and firmly adhered. You should have one piece left in your kit, so go ahead and get that out. It will be scored on 3 sides. We're going to make another pocket, so you're going to want to cut off the corners again. Go ahead and score the sides. Flatten them really well. And then put your adhesive on the 3 flaps. Once you've got your adhesive on the 3 flaps, we're going to go ahead and adhere the pocket to the back side of your folio. This pocket is going to be laid down this way against the outside of the score line. This is your kind of your seam or your binding. You're going to want to lay it to the right side of that fold line. You're going to line it up from the bottom and the side, making sure that it's nice and square. We are almost done, so hang in there. So with this, you're going to align the folded edge to that score line. Go ahead and flatten out the pocket and make sure the adhesive is nice and strong. So you'll have your pocket here and 2 pockets here. So that is the end of the assembly part. So let's kind of put it all together and take a look. You have a pocket here, you have 2 pockets here on this flap. This is a solid piece. You have a flap here to decorate. You have a pocket. This page is blank. You have a pocket here on a diagonal, a rectangular pocket here. This page is blank. Open this up. You've got a rectangular pocket here, a triangular pocket here, and then this shorter side, which is your cover. Okay, let's put it all back together here. When you're done, it will look like this. The last piece is to put on your magnets. So we're going to kind of decide where you want your magnets. And I don't want to put it too close to the edge, but I want to put it in just a teeny bit so that when you decorate over the top of it, your magnet is concealed. So I would say right there is good. I'm going to put a little mark. Where I want to put my glue. You're going to want some really strong liquid adhesive to be able to glue the magnets in place. So I'm going to use multi-medium matte adhesive. I'm just going to, you don't want to saturate it, you just want to kind of give it a nice even coating. And with the magnets together, I'm just going to set that in the glue and let it sit. You want this to have lots of time to dry and be nice and secure before you flip it over and glue it to this side. Now that we know one piece is really dry, we're going to go ahead and glue the second piece. And this piece, you want to make sure that your cover is nice and tight and square. So before you add your adhesive, you're going to want to make sure it's all squared up. You're going to do the same thing. This time you're going to put your glue on the back of the magnet itself. Not a ton, just enough to give it a good coating. You're going to make sure all the sides are nice and square. Then you're going to gently put the magnet down. You're going to want to hold it in place for a little bit just to make sure it's nice and secure and has the opportunity to adhere nice and firmly. I let mine dry overnight to make sure that my magnets are nice and secure. The magnets, once they're dry, are going to keep your folio closed and you are ready to decorate. So I hope you enjoy decorating and filling the pockets and having fun being creative, whether it be for a baby gift, a Christmas gift, Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever the occasion may be. This is a perfect gift to surprise the loved ones in your life. So I hope you enjoy the assembly of the Folio 4. Thank you for joining me and have a great day. If you like this video, please like, share, and leave a message.